Hi friends, this is Wani and welcome to Wani's house. Today I'm sharing with you how I make my delicious spinach and sausage breakfast quiche. The ingredients that you're going to need is 1 package of thawed frozen spinach, a half of a diced onion, 6 eggs, 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. You're going to need your turkey kielbasa smoked sausages, your pie crust, and some sharp cheddar cheese. Now first I'm going to start by cutting my kielbasa into halves, and then I will cut each half into another half, and then I will quarter each half. And I will dice the kielbasa into medium to small chunks. You don't want so big that it of the quiche, but you don't want it to be so small that you can't tell that there's meat in there. So I'm gonna finely dice my kielbasa into the thickness that I needed, and I will have on the side, I'll begin warming with some olive oil, a pan on medium heat. I'm adding my kielbasa to my pan, and I just have enough of oil in here just to pretty much line the bottom of the pan. It's not a lot so that my sausage is swimming in oil, and I'm just going to make sure that I want to make sure that the kielbasa is brown. Adding my onions here, and I'm going to mix it well to make sure that there's onion mixed throughout this mixture in this pan, and I'm going to cook it until my onions become translucent and I get a little bit of browning and caramelization on the sausage. Now while that is cooking, I have it on medium heat. In another bowl I have cracked 6 eggs here. I'm going to use my whisk to whisk the eggs together. And once my eggs are mixed together with the whisk thoroughly where you won't see the egg form, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of the heavy whipping cream. And mix it all together, and just so that you will see more cream than egg here, but we don't want to over mix it. As you see here, you can still see mostly cream, but you can see some egg. I am adding a half of a teaspoon of salt. I'm grinding in some black pepper, freshly grabbed black pepper. A half a teaspoon of seasoned salt, and lastly gonna add a half a teaspoon of paprika. I love paprika in egg dishes. I think it brings a little bit of smokiness and it's a different taste in any dish that has eggs in it. So I utilize paprika a lot in dishes like that. So we're gonna mix that thoroughly. I'm just mixing it. As you see, I'm not whisking it, and I'm just making sure that I get all the eggs around the edges. Whisk it a little bit more, and that's it. We don't want to over mix it because we want our mixture to be fluffy. Now back to our frying pan here. See, everything is really cooking nicely here, and so now I'm going to add my spinach that I have thawed out and drained. I squeezed all the water out, and so I'm just going to place the spinach throughout this mixture here on top, and then I will begin to mix the spinach thoroughly with the sausage and onion mix. I can't stress enough that you're just gonna have to keep mixing it, because when I squeezed all the water out of the spinach, it kind of clumped it up, and you don't want to have large clumps in your quiche. So while it's cooking, periodically just go throughout it and stir the mixture, just to make sure that there is spinach evenly distributed through this mixture, and so your quiche will have a really nice consistency. So now this is my pie crust. There were 2 that came in the package, and if you don't eat both quiches, I don't see why you wouldn't, but you can freeze it for another breakfast. And so my quiches have been sitting on the counter, so they're really soft, and that's just how I want them, because I don't want to shock my crust by taking them from the freezer into the stove. So I'm gonna stir my mixture up one last time. I'm turning my stove off, and I'm gonna take it off of this eye and let it begin to cool. Now back to our egg mixture here. The last thing that we need to add is some sharp cheddar cheese. So I just put this in as I saw fit, but I would think that this is probably about 3.5 cups of cheese that I put in here, because I like my quiche to be really cheesy. I'm using sharp cheddar cheese. If you have Parmesan cheese that you want to use in here, that would be great. Just make sure it's the shredded Parmesan cheese, or you can just shred it yourself and put it in there. Or if you have a slicer, use your slicer and put different slices of Parmesan cheese in. It will be really good. So now that we've added our cheese, I'm going to add the mixture evenly through at the bottom of our pie crust. And it has sat and cooled for a bit. And the reason I wanted to make sure it cooled down is because I don't want to put eggs into the pie mixture and my spinach and sausage is hot, because it's going to begin to cook it. And I don't want like fried eggs in my quiche. Now lastly, now that I've spread out all the mixture in the pie crust, I'm going to add our egg mixture on top. Doesn't that look good? Oh, I cannot wait for this to be done. It was so good, guys. So I'm gonna spread this mixture over the top. Now make sure you don't overfill your pie crust, because it's gonna rise. And do the same thing with the other pie crust. Look at that. It's so delicious. And make sure at the bottom, you're going to have cheese at the bottom. Make sure you include that cheese in here. Don't leave it in the bottom of your bowl, guys. You remember, like when you were younger, did you guys used to eat the cake mixture out the bottom of the bowl? Yeah, that was me. So don't do that here. We're going to get all of that goodness out of the bowl. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add more cheddar cheese to the top. Just sprinkle it sparsely along the top of the quiche. And that's it, guys. Now I placed my 2 quiches on the baking rack just in case they spill over. Set my oven for 425 degrees for 40 minutes. So now my quiche has been cooking. It's almost ready to come out of the oven. You see it has risen slightly and it has a beautiful brown crust on top. Look at that. I've taken my quiche out so that it can cool. We don't want to cut into the quiche right now because it's piping hot and it will just fall apart, and that is not what we want. Can you see the browning of the cheese on the top, the spinach and the sausage peeking through with a little bit of caramelization and browning on it? Oh, it smells so good and it tastes even better. So this is a piece of the quiche. You can see the inside with the spinach peeking through, and I paired it with some fried green tomatoes and some homemade home fries. So guys, that's the end of this video. If you like this video and cooking videos like this, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, and let me know if there are any other videos or any other recipes that you would like for me to try, or things that you haven't tried or would like to try. Also, if you're new to Wani's house, I would love for you to subscribe. So guys, I'm going to end this video, but you know what I always say. The next time you're in town, you can always stop by Wani's house, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.